Okay, so back out on the Comet again. Gonna change gears up a little bit here. I'm gonna jump back into the floor. Like I mentioned before, I do have my floor pan, and I've got a floor pan for the drivers and for the passengers. Here is the floor pan. Came from Melvins Classic Ford. It's not a bad fit. Now, there, done. Now, in reality, I've never put floor pans in before, so this is my first time. I'm not too keen on chopping that tunnel down over there. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not keen on chopping that tunnel, and I don't think I'm going to do it. And as far as this big ridge over here, I'm not removing this. There's no way. This is what's underneath this sheet metal here. I'm going to wrap it over. I mean, there's going to be 2 layers here. I don't care if this is proper or not. I am not cutting this. This is structural. It's perfect. Underneath is perfect. And this is also perfect. So why get rid of this? So I'm going to make a sandwich here. Maybe it's not proper. I don't know. At this point, I don't know. I really don't. So what I'm going to do for now is, obviously there's another piece that goes up here. That's called a toe board, but that'll be for another time. But for right now, let me just peel this piece of metal out here. I think my plan for right now, I'm just going to cut out wherever there's bad stuff. Like the lip here, I'm not even going to take the lip off. I shaved it down flat. I'm going to cut this back here. Maybe down to here or something. Whether it's proper or not, there's no way in heck am I taking all this off. There was a little hole here that I patched. If I'd have known that, I wouldn't have, but I did. There was a little bracket here. I'm not even sure what it did. It was under the seat. I had to remove that so the pan would lay flat. My plan is there's a subframe under here. I'm going to, I've already slice on, and then I'm going to try to peel this back up to expose this subframe piece. And I'm just going to try to remove, maybe I'll cut it up to here. Anyway, there's no way. I'm not brave enough to go up to here. Not a chance. This is structural. It's got to be. And I'm not chopping into that. It's perfect. Maybe I'll chop into the patch panel down here or something. Now the issue is when you sandwich, if you just cut willy-nilly and then lay the other piece on top, it might be fine and dandy and strong, but it'll look like crap underneath when you got the two edges. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. Really not. For now, I'm just going to peel back what I don't want. And obviously what I don't want is everything that's thin and rotted and everything that's going to be replaced by my new piece. So I'm going to take it up to here, maybe go along here. I'm definitely not coming up there. I'm going to stay down here somewhere, maybe cut it right across. There'll be a lip underneath that you'll be able to see, but so be it. That's the best I can do. I think that's how I'm going to attack it. I'm going to keep chopping. Let's see how we make out. Okay, so it's about half an hour later, and basically what I'm doing is I'm taking my zip cut. I'm cutting. I've cut up to the subframe, and I've cut slices on either side, and then I'm taking my pliers, and then I'm just basically rolling this like a can of sardines. And I watched, there's another YouTuber that I watch, Mike F. He does all kinds of Volkswagen stuff. Really, really big YouTuber. He's really famous. He's really good, very fast. And I've learned from watching him. And that's kind of what I'm going to do now. I'm not going to put the panel in now. I really want to try to take my time. But what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to keep nibbling, just as I'm doing, taking my time, making sure I preserve this subframe. And then once I've nibbled away an area that I'm happy with, then I'm going to start fitting the pan in. And I'm going to have to start figuring out where I want to make this cut. Already, if I had my time back, because the metal is actually so good here still, I would have liked to go along here. Then it would have been hidden underneath by this lip. But it's too late now. The pan is big. Like I said, I don't have the balls to go all the way up to here. Maybe down here somewhere. Anyway, this is where I'm at. This is about 30 or 40 minutes later. I'm going to keep nibbling and cleaning up this metal and see if I make any progress. Okay. Okay, well, it's the next day and I'm back out on the Comet there. I've got a couple hours, so see what I can do. The last time I left off, I had cut. I said I was nibbling everything out, and I did. And for now, I think that's as far as I want to go. And I said I was taking my time, and I was. And although I was taking my time, I still managed to cut my emergency brake. But I mean, that had to be replaced anyway. And I cut a brake line. So, yeah, but I mean, those weren't looking the best anyway, so I'm not really worried about that. I prepped my pan a little bit. What I mean by prep is I drilled all these holes all the way around, and I followed the subframe all with holes. So I'm going to do a type of plug weld to simulate like a spot weld, and I got this lip here all done as well. So when I put my pan in, it's not bad. It's not bad. I can push it down here. I could put maybe I'll put a rivet or a screw in to get started. And then I can just go along and buzz all these holes. And that'll simulate it's a plug weld, but that will simulate a pinch weld or whatever, however they did it in the factory. Pinch weld, that's correct. So, and along here will work as well, no problem. Over here I'm overlapping, which is either right or wrong, but that's how I'm doing it. Now, in this corner, I'm having a hard time in this corner because the pan, of course, if I push the pan in the corner, it pops way out over here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over here and really tuck this in. It's probably hard to see. The lighting's not great. But anyway, if I do this, I can spot weld all this in and seam seal, and I'll have a beautiful pan. Looks good. You think, amazing job. But here's where things go sideways. As nice as this could potentially look, and I even put the toe board in. I can throw that toe board in there, and it looks like, I was like, oh my God, beautiful floor work. Until you look underneath. Because the way I'm doing it, and I don't know if I'll be able to even capture this. Excuse the filming a little bit. I don't even know if you'll be able to see. Maybe it's too dark. It's too dark tonight. But anyway. You see the lip. There's only a tiny lip here. No big deal. I can seam seal this one. But the lip that's on the other side of the pan, over here. It's too dark. I'm sorry you can't see it. But anyway, it's like a gigantic crater. So I don't know how I'm going to make this look good from underneath. I really don't want to jump the gun and start buzzing this in, but I'm very tempted to clamp this in place. I suppose I could start here once I figure out my height, because this is a little bit flopsy, but once I figure out my height, make this tight, then I can start pushing it down on the subframe. So it's going to be well supported because it's going to be spotted all around here. I'm planning on overlapping the tunnel. Not very proper. I mean, I've watched guys on YouTube that spot this and then they take their zip cut and they go along here and then they just kind of follow along and they weld, and then magically the other piece from behind falls down and this one comes off, and it's like perfection. But I mean, I'm realistic. I'm going this route. It's not 100%, but if I can I've got clean metal. I've got really clean metal underneath, and this is a brand new piece. If I get my heat right and I burn these holes in without burning through, and once I grind them down, this will be plenty strong. And it's going to be fully supported here, fully tacked and supported on there, and then underneath there's also the subframe, which I peeled back and ground down, and this subframe is in very good shape. So I'll have full support this way and full support that way. Now over here, I'm not sure how this is going to work. Because, and that's what I was trying to film underneath. And once I lay this pan here on top, there's quite a gap. There's going to be quite a gap unless I pull this out. I'm not sure. For example, I mean, how is this supposed to be? I don't understand it. Here's the tunnel. And here's the frame. Now, there's a huge gap here. Is this not supposed to be? I guess it's not. So, if I want to follow these holes, I want to do this. I want to attach this section to this section. But obviously at some point, it's not really meant to be touching because there's a huge gap even here. So I wish I had the skills to buzz along and make it. But I'm not even gonna attempt that. Honestly, I'm just not. I can't risk messing this up. This car is in very good shape. I can't risk messing this up. And these pans, I mean, they weren't that cheap, but these were $140 a piece. So, and you know, welding gas and supplies are expensive as well. So, I think I'm going to start in this corner. I'm going to figure out my height, clamp this in. I think I'm going to start burning in this, excuse me. I'm going to start burning here. A couple tacks here maybe. A couple tacks down here. And once it's solid, then maybe I can start pushing in this corner. Because the whole point is to get this corner to down here. I mean, there's probably 1/4 of an inch. So I don't know if that could be pounded down. I don't know if I should slice here and pull the metal back up this way. I probably what I should have done, now that I look at this, is just because the patch panel was so pretty and seemed to fit so nice, I was reluctant to remove material off of this, and probably what I should have done is I should have cut this way down here. I could have got rid of all that. And I could have even kept the metal up to this, to the middle here, and just got rid of all that. I was reluctant to chop into my panel, but certainly when I do my passenger side, I'm just going to cut what I need, honestly. Yes, it's a $140 panel, and if I only need half, well, so be it. I'm just gonna make my own life easier. No sense reinventing the wheel here. And I mean, this is also, I'm enjoying this process. I'm also learning. Now, this is by no means, and I say this in almost all my videos, this is not a how-to. I just hope it's not a how not to. It could turn into what not to do. I'm hoping not. You know, it all depends how fussy you are when it comes to metalwork and that. I'm trying to make something decent. I mean, this is a Mercury Comet 62. It's in nice condition. These are not high dollar cars. So, you know, I'm hoping when I'm all said and done, I'm hoping to be well within $10,000, I would think. Maybe more like $8,000. This is not an expensive car, but I do like the model, and I like the style, I like the size. I love that it's a 2-door. So, anyway, I'm going to keep fiddling with this pan. I'm going to put the camera away, and I'll check back in a bit. Okay, so it's a couple hours later. I do have my pan in. Took a little bit of time to dial in my heat to figure out the heat range I wanted. So it went okay. It kind of, well, I say okay. The pan's in. I think it's solid. Certainly not beautiful. I haven't ground yet. I've had enough for tonight. The pan is in. The one issue I had, or not issue, the one thing I found the most difficult is, once I clamped this piece in, I clamped it the best that I could. And what I found was the style that I was doing is going and doing plug welds. And the thing with the plug weld is your pan really has to be pushed down to the one underneath. They have to be touching. If there's a little gap and you try to put a glob of weld in there, it just doesn't work. They don't stick. So I had a couple of attempts and it wasn't going. I had to take the pan back out and regrind it. So what I ended up doing is getting some rivets, and I put a few rivets here and there. Here's one. I put a couple down here. A couple of rivets really made my life a lot easier as far as holding the pan in. I guess you can use, you could use, fancy people use the Cleco pins, or you can use sheet metal screws. I had rivets. I put a few rivets in, and that really helped pull the metal together. And once I had a few rivets in and the pan was sturdy and the metal was tight, then I was able to go and buzz along. So I got my plugs done in here following the subframe. That's fine. On here I've got plug welds. I'm lying. I did grind a few of them down. I've got plug welds here, a couple of rivets in the beginning to hold everything in place, and I came back and I did a few stitches on the outside. And the same with all down here. So, I mean, this pan is not going anywhere. It's solid. I'm going to walk away for now. Obviously, I'm going to come back. I'm going to grind, and I'm going to have another look at it. I may have to do a bit more stitching. I may have to do a little bit more hammering. Like I see here that the little piece in the corner. I mean, does it really matter? No, but it's a little bit lifted in this corner. So, it's dark now. It's late. I don't want to be banging anymore. I don't want to upset the neighbors. So I'm going to leave it alone for now. I'm going to come back. The next time I come back out, I'm going to grind this. I'm going to reassess and fix it up some more if I have to. And then I'm going to start fitting in the toe board. So that's all for now. My first floor pan. Am I ecstatic about it? No. It's in. My welds are ugly as heck. Well aware of that. But it's in. It's solid. Once I grind it, I mean, it's like doing drywall mud. When you know good, I mean, you got to do a lot of sanding and you got to do a lot of coats. So it's just the way it is. So anyway, good learning. My pan's in. Overall, I think it's solid. And, all right. I'm going to leave it for now. We'll catch you on the next one. Okay, well, it's the next day again. Working on my patch panels. So I came back. This is my floor pan that I had put in, like you saw. So I came back and I ground everything down. I ground everything down up here. Then I had little pinholes. So wherever there was a pinhole, I took my my paint marker and I circled the pinholes. And I went back. I did this 3 times. And so right now, this pan is in. Welds are not beautiful. I'm well aware. The pan is in. It's solid as solid can be. It even looks good from underneath. Now underneath, I could weld the seams, but in some areas I took my hammer and I pounded the seams, and I may spot weld up underneath a little bit, or I may just seam seal. I'm not sure yet. So since it went well with the pan, I decided to jump into the toe board. Now the toe board was a massive piece, and it went all the way up, so I decided to cut it down. And what I did is I nibbled away at it a little bit. I took a top layer off, I took a bottom layer off, I took an inside corner off. So anyway, I'm down to this piece here for my toe board. And this toe board, of course, is a generic thing. I mean, they don't make panels for Mercury Comets, so this was for a Ford Falcon. And the floor crease was here. And on the car, it's over in the corner. So I had this big bump that didn't line up. And then my angled piece was not as pronounced on here as it is back here. So I put a little slice here. So this is what I got so far. And I think that's pretty darn good. I've got nice clean metal here. It's going to be, again, it's not going to be a butt weld. I'm going to save the butt welds for exterior panels. For the floor, what the heck? 2 layers of steel. It's probably just as better than one. So, this is how I'm going to lay this in. I'm going to be able to, first I'm going to tack all this all along. I'll be able to get this nice and tight. There will be a bit of a ridge, but so be it, under the underlay and the carpet and everything else. No one's ever going to know. My little slit is here, so I'll be able to, once I tack this in, I'll be able to pound this one down. I'll be able to tack this one tight to the firewall like that. Or the toe board, whatever you want to call it. In this corner, I'll weld all around. Of course, I cut out the piece that was in the corner because it was big and bulky. But I see that I got little pinholes here. So what I'll do is the piece that I come out, I'm going to come back once this is all in place. Or I might even just do it like a little paper doll and trace it out and put a piece in here and weld it solid all around. And I think that's going to be nice and tight and sturdy. Yeah, floor pans. So this is pretty much what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to... the success to good welding, what I'm finding is, other besides your heat and everything else, is getting this metal clean. And the new metal is fine, but this old metal, you see what it looks like? It's solid old metal. It's good, but when you grind it, you get all these little pits and crevices, and then your wheel grinds this in, and it also picks up the old undercoating and underlay and whatever black paint, and it kind of grinds it all in. And what I found so far, the hardest part is getting the old metal clean. But so far so good. I'm going to clean this up some more. I'm going to pound this in a little bit more, and I think that is going to be ready. Whether it's like this or like this, I'm going to look underneath. Whatever looks better underneath is how she's going to live. And yeah, is it going to make SEMA? Absolutely not. Never intended it to. I just want it to be. I want it to be metal. I want it to be solid. Maybe in time, maybe my skills will improve. Hopefully, by the time I get to the rear quarters, because I've done some patchwork in here. I got a little bit of floor pan experience. I've done a little bit on the doors and stuff, but mostly just little patches with filler on top. I'm hoping that when I come to the body, whenever I get to this, I would like it if I could do this myself. I'm certainly going to try. And I mean, like I said, I said all along, even this, if I was to fail at this, not the end of the world. I can just put the car on a flatbed and send it to a welding shop down the road. There's a welder that I know, but I wanted to learn. I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to say that I did it all myself. So I'm certainly going to try. So, this is where I'm going to leave it off. I'll check in again tomorrow. I'm going to do a little bit more of this work tomorrow. Maybe I'll tack this in tonight, not sure. Anyway, that's all for now on the floorboards. Okay, well, it's the next day, next morning. I got up early this morning and I continue on with my toe board. Of course, my floor pan was in yesterday and I was quite satisfied with that. So this morning I started fresh and I laid in this toe board, and I have to say that it went really well. I pushed it into place. Of course, I ground all the metal clean. I tacked it at various spots, obviously, and I went back and I just basically did almost continuous welds all around. It went really well. I think I'm getting the hang of this. So, of course, it is a lap weld, which means that this is overlapping this part of the pan, and this is overlapping this part of the pan. But nonetheless, I will move on to some butt weldings eventually. This was a lap weld. It went really well. The metal is nice and tight and close. Where there was a little ridge in the floor, I cut a little slice here, hammered this down, welded it back up. Same with here, the tiny little hump in the floor. I cut a little slice here, hammered it down, welded all around. Now, when it came to the corner, I went and I had to add a piece in here, unfortunately, because when I had cut my toe board, it was a perfect fit in this corner seam, but I noticed that I was grinding, there was pinholes and stuff, so I took a piece of the original pan, I cut it to fit, and I welded it all around. And quite happy with that. And what I did, I also went underneath the car because a lot of this stuff is visible from underneath. And I tried to make it as nice as I could. And yeah, I'm going to pop underneath here just to have a peek. Hopefully we can see. I got the car jacked up, so it made my life a little bit easier. So here we are underneath. So let's just get my light out here so you can see. So this is the floor pan. So as you can see, the floor pan is in. It's spot welded all along this edge. So I'm going to come back here. Hard to see here. What am I doing? I got to make it so you can see. So this crack here will be seam sealed. That's fine. Now, I did not weld continuously all underneath. There's a little tiny bit of a space here. I did put a spot here just to keep them together. This will be seam sealed. This will be seam sealed. I'm probably going to take the hammer and pound this back up a little bit more before I do that, because the pan is spot welded on here. So it looks like a gap. It's a little bit of a gap. I'll hammer this up and I will seam seal. Now, what was really visible right here in the wheel well, this is where the pan ends and the toe board begins. And then the original wheel well. So I got this nicely formed in and I got it welded all around. Now this is welded, crudely ground. I still need to come back and paint and seam seal. This is going to be fine. Now, what had me most concerned was the inside corner. And this is my inside corner. Original old metal, corner piece, and floor pan. I don't know if you can even see that. They're all joined. They're welded all around. It's solid. There's no holes. I gave it a ground. I ground it down. It's kind of an awkward spot to be working. I do have the car jacked up a little bit. Plan is to come back with some black paint. I'm going to paint this. I'm going to seam seal. And I'm going to call this good. This is pretty good. And I did it myself. It didn't cost anything, except for the materials. So, solid metal, welded. Some people say, if anybody thinks my welds look like shit, well, you can go ahead and say that. That's fine. I know there's good penetration because I can see the heat marks on the other side and vice versa. So, if you don't like my welds, that's fine. That just means you watch my video anyway. So, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, yeah, let's get some black paint and make this a bit more presentable. Okay, well, here it is with the black. I'm going to call this a win. Quite happy. This is glossy black. If it was flat, it would look even better. I don't know if you can see in there. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, and I don't even have any seam sealer. I'm out of seam sealer. I'm going to run out right now. I'm going to grab some seam sealer. I'm going to paste this up, re-blacken it, and then I'm going to jump on the other side. Yeah, I think I'm getting this welding thing down. I think I've got just enough gas in my bottle to to finish my floors. Okay. Next time we'll be jumping into the passenger footwell. Okay. Nice floor pans. Not bad for an amateur. Okay.